I am K. Surya, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE at SNS College of Technology. See, in the previous video, we saw about the functions of OSI layers like physical layer, data link layer and network layer. In this video, let us see about the functions of the remaining 4 layers of the OSI model. So next one is transport layer. Transport layer is responsible for process-to-process delivery of the entire message. A process is an application program running on a host, whereas the network layer oversees source-to-destination delivery of individual packets. It does not recognize any relationship between those packets. It treats each one independently as though each piece belonged to a separate message, whether or not it does. The transport layer, on the other hand, ensures that the whole message arrives intact and in order, overseeing both error control and flow control at the source to destination level. Some of the important functions of transport layer are service point addressing. Computers often run several programs at the same time. For this reason, source-to-destination delivery means delivery not only from one computer to the next, but also from a specific process on one computer to a specific process on the other. The transport layer header must therefore include a type of address called the service point address. The network layer gets each packet to the correct computer. The transport layer gets the entire message to the correct process on that computer. Next one is segmentation and reassembly. A message is divided into transmittable segments with each segment containing a sequence number. These numbers enable the transport layer to reassemble the message correctly upon arriving at the destination and to identify and replace the packets that were lost in transmission. Next one is connection control. The transport layer can be either connectionless or connection oriented. A connectionless transport layer treats each segment as an independent packet and delivers it to the transport layer at the destination machine. A connection oriented transport layer makes a connection with the transport layer at the destination machine first before delivering the packets. After all the data are transferred, the connection is terminated. Flow control. Like the data link layer, the transport layer is responsible for flow control. However, flow control at this layer is performed end-to-end rather than across a single link. And the last function is error control. So like the data link layer, transport layer is responsible for error control. However, here it is performed process to process rather than across a single link. The sending transport layer makes sure that the entire message arrives at the receiving transport layer without error. So it is usually achieved through retransmission. So the figure here shows the relationship of the transport layer to the network and session layers. It also shows the segments, and each and every segment has a header. The transport layer is responsible for the delivery of message from one process to another. This diagram mentions the functions of the transport layer in clear, where the message is delivered from one process to the other process. So it is process to process delivery in the transport layer and host to host delivery in the network layer. Next one is session layer. The services provided by the first 3 layers are not sufficient for some processes. The session layer is also known as a network dialog controller. It establishes, maintains and synchronizes the interaction among the communicating systems. The main 2 functions are dialog control and synchronization. The session layer allows 2 systems to enter into a dialogue. It allows the communication between the 2 processes to take place in either half duplex or full duplex mode. The session layer allows a process to add checkpoints or synchronization points to a stream of data. For example, if a system is sending a file of 2000 pages, it is advisable to insert checkpoints after every 1000 pages to ensure that each 100 page unit is received and acknowledged independently. In this case, if a crash happens during the transmission of page 523, the only pages that need to be reset after system recovery are pages 501 to 523, because for every 100 pages an acknowledgement would have been received because of checkpoint. The figure illustrates the relationship of the session layer to the transport and presentation layers. Next one is presentation layer, which is concerned with the syntax and semantics of the information exchanged between the two systems. The functions of the presentation layer are translation, encryption, and compression. In translation, the processes in two systems are usually exchanging information in the form of strings, numbers, and so on. So information must be changed to bit streams before being transmitted. Because different computers use different encoding systems, the presentation layer is responsible for interoperability between these different encoding methods. The presentation layer at the sender changes the information from its sender-dependent format into a common format. The presentation layer at the receiving machine changes the common format into its receiver-dependent format. Next one is encryption. To carry sensitive information, a system must be able to ensure privacy. Encryption means that the sender transforms the original information to another form and sends the resulting message out over the network. Decryption reverses the original process to transform the message back to its original form. Compression reduces the number of bits contained in the information. Data compression becomes particularly important in the transmission of multimedia such as text, audio, and video. The figure shows the relationship between the presentation layer and the application and session layers. The last one is the application layer. The application layer enables the user, whether human or software, to access the network. It provides user interfaces and support for services such as electronic mail, remote file access and transfer, shared database management, and other types of distributed information services. The specific services provided by the application layer are Network Virtual Terminal. So it is nothing but a software version of the physical terminal to allow a user to log on to a remote host. So it creates a software emulation of a terminal at the remote host. So the remote host believes it is communicating with one of its own terminals and allows the user to log on. File transfer, access and management. This allows a user to access files in remote host, to retrieve files from a remote computer for use in the local computer, and to manage and control files in a remote computer locally. Mail services provides the basis for email forwarding and storage. And directory services, this application provides distributed database sources and access for global information about various objects and services. So the figure shows the relationship between the application layer to the user and the presentation layer. Hope you would have understood the functions of all the layers in the OSI model. Let us take up some assessment questions. Which layer is responsible for process-to-process delivery in a general network mode? Yes, it is the transport layer. Which layer provides the services to the user? It is application layer. A DAS address identifies a process running on a computer. It is the service point address. Thank you for watching this video.